Journey, 13 years later. I'll be honest, this past couple of days or so was my first time experiencing the story of Journey. 13 years and I finally have gotten to play it. Now of course 13 years ago I was but a mere young boy, but still. With how much nowadays I love games where I can peel back layers and analyze story mechanics or character development or just settings and stuff of that nature, you would think that I would have gone to a game like this already. One where for its time it was a game of the same nature I crave for in storytelling nowadays. A game that, in short, fits up my alley. A game that makes you sit and ponder after beating it for the first time. One that gives incentives to play again. A game where no matter who you are or what you came from, we can all appreciate the message of a game like this. But alas, I'm here now, a first-time experiencer of the tale of Journey, and I have to say I missed out on a ton, to say the least. Today I want to go over my experience with Journey, what I took from the game, the story, and everything else that falls in between. I hope that people out there who are watching this can enjoy hearing someone talk about one of your favorite games for the first time. I make analysis videos like this for a variety of different games, so if this sounds like something you may enjoy, then feel free to subscribe. It means a lot. But with all of that finally out of the way now, let's get into Journey, 13 years later. When it comes to the aspects of life and death, there's always a ton of questions that we ask ourselves. As humans, we are familiar with the idea of the process of life, yet we aren't at the same time. We can never be able to fully comprehend the complexities or simplicities of the journey of life. Even as we live and live and live, experiencing new things or ideas, the process of life will always be up for debate. Journey is about that, the process of life and death on a journey of accepting your own life until the very end. This game does it masterfully, to be honest with you. Which is funny because, as I've just said, how are we to know the true nature of the journey of life? How am I to know that Journey captures those aspects in a profound way? The simple answer, I guess, is just human intuition. I feel as though the message conveyed was one I felt on a spiritual level. But enough talking, let's show now and go through how Journey is able to catch that feeling, and how it makes Journey special. We start off in a desert. Staring off into the distance, the game makes it clear that this game is centered around a journey. How obvious. The setting of a desert is a great one to start off in. In games like this where the message is the purpose, we have to take in all of our surroundings with a grain of salt. Deserts often symbolize isolation or emptiness, a place of no distractions, and it gives the player a moment to take in everything and not overwhelm themselves. It's frankly a lot more important to the story than on the surface. It helps set the story up in a nice way. The use of a non-vocal character is also very important, because in my eyes you don't need to have a personality for this type of a message, because no matter who you are, we all go through the journey of life together. You can almost use the silent protagonist as a placeholder for yourself. And speaking of going through the journey of life together, you can do just that. The game actually has a multiplayer system built in. If you're connected online, you will be joined on your journey with other people. Little things like this on the surface may not be some groundbreaking revolution, but when it all gets combined together, it really helps give Journey its own identity. Because for games like this, it's more about the finer details and the gigantic in-your-face moments. I think it goes well with the message of the game. One of the reasons the game has gotten the reputation it's got. I want to dive a bit deeper into the actual story now though. From where we left off, we were scourging the desert, just following the path in front of us. We passed through these what it seems to be gravestones, and eventually we reach and unlock the game's primary mechanic, which is the chirping, which is the game's most important mechanic. It helps communicate with other players, beings, and helps us progress through the game. After this point is more scourging, we then encounter our first bunch of mini cloths for our cape. Our cape, in my mind, is our will to keep going even. Throughout the game we monitor the cape. It helps us fly, it helps us retain our health, and even helps us tell how much progress we have made throughout the story. For a game like this where the point is to tell the journey of life, I feel as though the robe is one of the most important ideologies to that. As I've said earlier, games like this you have to kind of take everything with a grain of salt. Even the most minuscule bit of things can really shed some light on important messages. I'll shed more light on this near the end of the journey, but for now we keep moving. At this point we then see the first occurrence of these hieroglyphs. These essentially are staples for the game's story as they foreshadow the journey we head on. And the first one we see pretty much confirms the idea of those stones earlier being gravestones, which of course fits in with the purpose of the story. At this point it's a very vague experience. You're kind of just taking everything in one step at a time. No directions or hints or anything of that nature. In the same area we encounter our first shrine. These shrines are vastly important. They show us visions of our journey. The more you progress through the story, the more visions you get, essentially connecting more pieces of the puzzle. I'm not going to show every single vision, but you get the idea. These visions are the game's way of essentially telling the story. It's unique. With no voice acting or directions, this is essentially the game's way of shaping its story. And that's it for the first desert portion of the game. There was a lot of themes put into place within the first 30 minutes or so. I tried to narrow down as much as I can, but with games like this, there always comes a lot of interpretation. Before we get into the next part, I'm going to give a quick reminder to like and subscribe if you're enjoying my analysis on Journey so far. Any feedback for a small channel like mine is always appreciated. But for now, let's head into the next portion of the game. The start of the next section gives us a reminder of the place we want to reach. A good look of the mountaintop as we stand in the pink desert sand. This section shows us a bit of progress towards our journey's end while introducing us to the game's companions, the flying carpets. These carpets help aid us in a journey to the mountaintops. Through the level we gain more and more of the carpets. The aid of having numbers on our side helps us get over loops we wouldn't have been able to get through before. And to me that fits very well with the game's narrative. Just as we can have other people accompanying us on our journey, we can also be aided as well. These carpets not only are here to just help with the gameplay, but as a metaphorical message in my mind. One that to me says that this journey of life doesn't have to be gone on alone. Matter of fact, to me the game is saying it's easier to go through journeys with company. It is very well a good weaved in message for the game. After the help of the carpet friends and the end of traversing the desert, we are now into the next portion of the game, that being the Sunken Temple. The Sunken Temple to me is the dark stage of this journey. So far throughout the video in the game, I've essentially highlighted a ton of positives on the journey of life, whether it was the other companions or the flying carpets or just a positive outlook in general. The Sunken Temple, however, shows the negatives. To start off, the setting. It's a dreadfest, honestly. The dark atmosphere and the low tempo music, it's setting an early tone. And most importantly, we are introduced to the game's only enemy, the war machines. These war machines, just like everything else, were shown in an early vision from one of the shrines. This is the first time we see them in action though. First time and they've killed one of the carpets, an obvious sign of aggression. But of course, these guardians are a lot more than just some ancient weapons in my opinion. To me, these signify moments of the journey that are debilitating. They are the unescapable moments of doubt or negative emotions you may have on your journey of life. These war machines are used as roadblocks in your path not only in the game, but for anything. Remember how I said earlier that the cape on your character shows their strong will the longer it gets? These war machines cut off a ton of that if they were to get hit by one. A direct correlation, literally and figuratively. Coming closer to the end of the journey, we are now in the 6th stage, the tower. Now this is probably the most vague as far as concept goes for the stages. I can't pinpoint as much as I had in previous stages, but I still do have a general idea of the importance of this room. This stage is essentially a physical embodiment of our entire journey. At the bottom is the start, and as we climb up the tower, the longer the scarf gets, the more companions we meet until we finally reach the light we have been chasing this entire time. This room was a reminder of that journey, but from a different perspective. Now within the game's second to final area, we arrive at the closest point to the mountain yet, the snow tundra. This area opposite to the last one has a lot more ideas I could pinpoint. First is the snow itself. Snow or winter has always been used as the idea for being the last stage before rebirth. What I mean by that is winter or snow is a reflection period. For whatever you may be going through, winter is that time to sit and reflect on everything you've been through the past year or so. In this instance, it's a reflection period for the journey we've been on. It's a reason this section in particular is one of the last of the game. It fits in line with the constant theme of winter being reflection time. In the winter, you become a lot more dormant. The cold weather makes the world feel like it's moving slower, hence why people take time in the winter to reflect. Think of New Year's, for example. People get together and celebrate the passing year. In that same vein, they also reflect and make New Year's resolutions for the coming year. In the game, the movement is limited and a lot slower, giving incentive to look back and think of what led to this point. As far as the story goes, the last vision we seen was again a foretelling of our journey. We traverse the wicked tundra and attempt to reach our ultimate goal, which is the mountaintop. But that's not exactly what happens. Let's take a look. As we finally feel in reach of journey's end, we slowly start the walk, our cape becoming smaller and smaller, and alas, we fall. This was the end of our journey. Our will to go on was no more. The mountaintop disappears, it feels as though it's all for naught. But of course, the game doesn't end here. We actually get one last vision, a vision from all those white cape beings. They surround us. And in the final vision, we are revived, and our journey is on its legs for the last time. But before we move on, what does it mean? And why did this happen? Well, to me, it's quite simple. The journey of life isn't a road that is easy. Matter of fact, I think it's the opposite. Hardship can come in a multitude of different ways. There isn't one definition of what can really take a toll on somebody and how they view life. Whether you're strong-willed or not, you will experience ups and downs. It's part of life. In this instance, we gave in to that hardship, on the brink of finding our journey's end. But all that wasn't just for naught now. Those white robes were our overseers, a reason why in every vision we seen them. They watched our entire journey from start, and in return they understand the same way we do that life isn't some walk in the park. And so in one moment of solitude, they help us. We arise once again with a full will to reach that end. It's a moment to celebrate, the uptick in music and seeing all of our companions throughout the game all with us in the final push. Our cape is as long as ever. We fly and we fly, eventually reaching the mountaintop. As we see the light, we walk in. We keep walking, and eventually the game walks for us. This was it. Reaching the mountaintop was us accepting our life, and we are finally able to say, our journey is complete. This game was fantastic. Up and down the themes, the message, the music, it all combined to create something truly special. A reason why this game is so appreciated even 13 years later. The amount of discussions and theories you can have, it's that makes games like this special. This video was about my own personal theories and thoughts, but there's thousands of different perspectives I can't even imagine. My first time experiencing this game was nothing short of memorable. I hope anyone who made it this far enjoyed my take on this game. And if you have any of your own theories or thoughts, leave them down below. Would love to discuss this game even more. I hope you gained something from this video, whether it was a new opinion or some incentive to play this game again. If you enjoyed, why not like and subscribe? I'll make analysis-based content like this for a ton of different games, so if that's something that's interesting to you, would love for you to join me. But that's all for me. Thank you, everyone, for watching, and goodbye.